So, hey guys, so we are live on YouTube and we don't have any viewers yet. So, hey guys, so welcome to the Tuesday night live stream. It's Tuesday, we are back. So, just a few announcements while we wait for viewers to come online. So, I'm starting doing group channeling sessions in Glastonbury starting tomorrow night. The first session is tomorrow night. It's at the Miracles Room in the Glastonbury Experience Courtyard, which, if you know Glastonbury, it's at the bottom of the High Street. It's the courtyard where the Goddess Temple is. And so there's information about this on my website. If you go to my website, the link should be in the box below, jonathancmartin.com. And just click on the Glastonbury link. And I've booked 3 Wednesday evening sessions, 7:15 each Wednesday, and possibly continue after those 3 sessions as well, see how it goes. So there's that. And what else? So yeah, so I've started doing coaching sessions alongside my channeling sessions. It's something I'm really excited and inspired to start doing, because I've started doing, I guess, this thing where I can really sense into people's calling and purpose. And I've done a few sessions like online, because I started doing it in person with people, and I can really like connect into you. I can sense into your soul and sense into your like soul connections and get a real strong feeling for what your life purpose is, your calling and your theme is. So I'm doing coaching sessions to assist people get in alignment with their calling and their theme. And I'm also pretty good at setting up websites and businesses, or internet businesses. I've got a lot of experience about marketing and internet business. So it really ties in well with what I'm doing these coaching sessions to help people find their excitement and calling, and tune in and see what your excitement and what your soul connections are. And also everything I've learned, obviously, from the Yael and Bashar, when I was a Bashar student, about following your excitement and tuning into your life purpose and calling. And I've melded those all into these coaching sessions that I've started doing and really excited and enjoying. So check out my website. There's coaching sessions available. They're a bit cheaper than the channeling sessions because I don't use so much energy, so I can do more of them. So that's another thing. And what else? So I think that's about it for now. I won't spam you with a load of rubbish. So yeah, and it's all on my website, jonathancmartin.com. So take a look. So let's see if we've got any questions yet. If we've got any questions yet. Hey, transmissions. Hey, Darnell. So if you have any questions, fire away. Now's your chance to get the questions in, because as the sessions get going, there'll be loads of questions, and I never get to the end of them all. So if you have any questions, get them in now. This is the quiet period. So perhaps if we just take a few minutes just do a couple of minute meditation together and tune into each other's energy, help us get on the same wavelength. Just quieten your mind, just let everything from the day go. I know everything's okay. Do you feel the quantumness of the number 369? I don't get a lot from it, to be honest. I know it's what Tesla talks about, isn't it? The 3, the 6, and the 9. So I'm not sure. So, what to talk about? So now is like a really good time to get on board with your calling, your highest excitement, what you came here to do, because I feel that this year, 2018, is going to be like a hugely manifestive year. And what I mean by that is like whatever you've been focusing upon is really going to manifest this year. It's like, as Abraham says, we're always sowing seeds in our vortex. And like everything we've been trying to manifest for the past 8 years, 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, I feel is going to begin to manifest this year. So I guess a lot of us, hopefully most of us, like listening to this transmission, have got some idea what our calling is, even if we're not totally aligned with it and living our highest excitement. Perhaps like some of us are like naturally drawn to like healing and Reiki, and some of us are naturally drawn to like coaching, and some of us are sort of naturally musicians, and some of us are naturally channels or meditation teachers or yoga teachers or this sort of thing. So a lot of us have got sort of some general idea of the way we like to serve through our excitement in this reality. And the thing with this year is it's all going to start to manifest. So if you're like not if you're like focusing on something and it's not quite your highest excitement, like perhaps it's like your highest excitement to start up a yoga retreat center in the Bahamas. But what you're currently doing is you're just trying to start up a yoga classes running regularly in your local town in the UK. What's going to happen is, because you're focusing all this energy on setting up this yoga school in a town in the UK, it's going to manifest this year because of the energy of this year and the momentum, the collective momentum towards manifesting a new earth, and the acceleration of consciousness and the acceleration of energy, and the fact that we are like sort of choosing our timelines now, the timelines we are focused are solidifying. Everything is going to start to manifest this year. So if you're focusing on something that's not quite your highest excitement, that is likely to become your life. In a sense, there's always opportunity to change, but the way the energies are moving at the minute, as we went through this like splitting prism of 2012, as like the fear-based beings and the positive love-based beings began to separate, and we're creating these two new parallel earths. The love light parallel earth and the people still living in the fear-based reality are shifting to another reality. We like went through the splitting prism in 2012, and around that time there was like a massive of potential timelines that we could all move into, because there's generally a positive earth and generally a negative earth, but within those realities now, I should imagine like everyone tuning into this call is like firmly rooted in the positive earth. But within the positive earth, there's again, you know, perhaps infinite, certainly many available to you timelines, because I guess there is infinite, but like the probable likely timelines are like a lot still, but they're getting less and less all the time. It's like stuff's starting to solidify down into specific realities. So what you're focusing your consciousness on now is likely to be your reality to a certain extent. Obviously, everything changes. It's going to evolve and expand. But you've chosen a timeline by saying, like, it's my highest excitement, or it's the best I feel I can act upon to start a yoga school in the UK, because I don't quite feel I've got the guts or the perception, the belief systems that will allow me to start up that yoga retreat center in the Bahamas that I always wanted to start. You're going to start to manifest like this lesser aspect of your highest excitement. And of course, down the timeline, you can transfer to the Bahamas. It's not going to become impossible. But the point is, there's this huge manifestation energy at the minute as we go into 2018. And whatever we're focusing our consciousness on now is going to begin to solidify in our realities very strongly. Like if being a musician, like a spiritual musician, has been like your hobby for the past 8 years, it's going to start to manifest because you've been putting all your focus, you've been sowing your seeds in the vortex, and it's really going to amplify and manifest this year. This is the year of manifestation. This is the year of success and realization, and realizing our dreams manifest physically in the physical world. And so it's really important that we now really get on board with that which is our highest excitement, that which is we feel is the highest we can act upon. We've got to really step out and get in alignment with our highest excitement, relocate to those places on earth that we resonate with, and really go for it. Because it's like Bashar used to say, like 2010 to 2015 was the span, with like December the 21st, 2012 in the middle. This was the span where he says this is the point where you've all got to decide what it is you want from this reality. Because come 2015, you're going to be sort of on your train, and it's going to be harder to swap tracks to another train because of this wave of expansion. And so I wasn't really in alignment with my highest excitement by the end of 2015. It's sort of starting to happen now towards the end of 2017, and I'm really getting aligned now. So and it's getting more difficult, but 2018, it's going to get a lot more difficult. I feel it's like timelines are really getting solidified now. And it's like, this is why so many of us went through like this intense dramatic change towards the end of 2017, because we've been sowing these seeds in our vortex of what we wanted to do, but we still had the fears in our system, the emotional attachments, and the beliefs that it couldn't happen, and all this negative stuff in our system. But our higher self knew it's what we wanted. This was our momentum that we created in this life. And it's so our higher selves, in a sense, forced this huge wave of consciousness came into our reality, and it like purged all our negative beliefs, it purged all our emotional attachments, and it like reshuffled our lives for a lot of us. We ended up like moving to new locations. Our lives got completely restructured. Things that weren't working in our life just got removed from it without our choice. And this is because we're going into this 2018 period of huge manifestation. And it was like a higher self, like really giving us an urge, like saying, you've got to move now. Like, I'm going to make life really difficult for you if you stay in the reality you do not prefer. So yes, so 2018 is a time when we've really got to get in alignment with our highest excitement. We've got to go for it because of the way the energies are moving. It's getting late in the game. If we don't start aligning with our highest excitement now and beginning to take action and push through those fears, even though we know they're, we've got to learn to trust. We've got to start to take those leaps of faith into the unknown, trusting that our higher selves will support us. We've got to get out of these negative belief patterns that were conditioned into us by society, by our parents, by our teachers who don't know shit what they're talking about. So we've got to let go of all that stuff, and we've got to really start trusting in this new reality and aligning with the frequency of our highest excitement and living our dreams and living our purpose and our calling and our service to humanity through our excitement. And not forgetting that, like, this is all about building this love light golden age. We're taking the step into the dawn of the golden age, and we're here to upgrade the frequency of the planet. This is the point of following your excitement, following your calling. It's our way that we are upgrading the consciousness of this planet. And if you don't step onto this train now, you're going to get left. You're going to literally shift in a lesser earth. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to enter into this ultimate bliss-filled golden age reality that's going to birth over the next 50 years. You're going to shift to a parallel timeline where it's not such an ecstatic reality. I'm sure all of us in this transmission now are in a positive oriented earth, but it's not going to be the best. It's going to be a bit mundane, and it could be very rocky going through this transition period. So now is the time when the timelines, the train tracks are diverging, as Bashar says. The timelines are splitting down different realities, and it's getting harder to cross over from one to the other. So it's really becoming essential now that we get in alignment with our highest excitement and our calling, and start living it fearlessly in every given moment to the best of our ability, and understand that fears will come up, and love ourselves unconditionally when those fears arrive, because that helps transmute them. Understand that the fears will come up, the doubt beliefs will come up, the lack beliefs, the lack of self-worth, all this stuff will come to the surface, but just love it and surrender to your higher self. Say, look, higher self, I'm done. I need a better reality. I surrender my life to you. Give it all to God. As one of my teachers says, give it to God. When the hard stuff comes up, I can't do it, God. I can't do this. It's up to you. I want to create a love light, blissful golden age for the benefit of all humanity, and I can't deal with this crap. So I give it to you, God. Help us create this golden density earth. So hey, Ruben, nice to see you. Belgium, back in Belgium. But you had an exciting time in Sedona. You went at the right time. I feel like I need to ground more than ever. Any advice from the Yael? My energy feels more scattered than ever since January the 1st. Yeah, it's been an interesting year. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, the energies have been bizarre since January the 1st. Yeah, we need to stay in. I mean, the Yahyel always say, like, how do I ground? Hold on, one moment. I need to tune in. Yeah, the Yahyel are saying we need to learn to love our earth, love nature, love the trees. Because I'm struggling with this as well, because there's a lot of dense energy out there at the minute in society, and even in the places in nature, because so many people are going through so much stuff. It's like there's this dense energy like outside a lot. So I'm struggling a little myself to like really love nature and really ground in nature. So this is the advice. This is what I just got from the Yahyel. They're saying that we need to learn to love nature. We need to learn to love the trees. We need to learn to love the rivers, love the earth, and really love it for what it is, and understand that Mother Earth, Gaia, is going through a purging as well. And there's a lot of energies in this planet that aren't of the highest. And it's like Gaia's purging these energies as well with us. We're working collectively. It's like almost like Gaia is drawing everyone's negative energy out of the humans to help assist in the transition, and she's like taking on the energy herself to help transmute it. So there's a lot of like swamp energy in Gaia at the minute. So, and it can be difficult as Gaia takes on these energies, because like we normally look to Gaia to give us the high energies. We go out in nature and we like bliss out and relax, but there's all this dense energy moving through our planet everywhere. Like the whole grid is like purging everyone's dense energy. So it can be difficult to look to go for that easy bliss release in nature, because of all this energy that's moving everywhere on the planet now. It's like there's no escape. It's like all our stuff's coming up and it's saturated the whole planet, and it's like, oh my god, we can't escape anywhere anymore. We've got to deal with this stuff. And this is why it's happening, because like in the past we used to like retreat into nature to escape our stuff and escape the process. But the thing is, now it's about being in the process, and it's about collectively processing it and collectively healing the earth. So like you say, we need to ground. And so I mean, one tip, I mean, I just like keep barefoot as much as possible these days, even if I get cold feet. And perhaps things that are grounding, because what I'm finding is that the way to get into high energy now is because I'm not finding it so much in nature, because like I say, there's this purging going collectively and the energies aren't so released. What I'm finding is that the best places to find those high energies now are in community, like surrounding yourself with like-minded high vibe people. And I recently joined a dance class, a street dance class, and just in Glastonbury, and it's the best thing I did since I've been here, because I need grounding a lot. And it was so grounding for me, and the high consciousness like that it forms like in a group setting with people dancing, it keeps you in that high vibe, but it's also very grounding. So if you can find like communities that are grounding, because obviously in a lot of these spiritual communities it's extremely ungrounded. You know, we're all going up into these higher consciousnesses, we're all doing these expansive things, and we're all up here and completely ungrounded. And so, but if you can find like high vibing people who are creating community projects, community events that are grounding, that would probably be my best advice. Like for me, doing the dance class, perhaps a yoga class if you're drawn to. I'm sure like a group yoga class where you can create a high vibe within the yoga class, but also yoga is very grounding. These sort of things, these are what I would recommend. It's like find something that's grounding for you in a community with like-minded people on the same wavelength, so you can collectively create a high vibe situation that's really pleasant and enjoyable. but also it's like really grounding, like yoga or dancing or I don't know, kung fu, something like this, as opposed to like star being meditations, because that's just not really going to ground you at all, is it? What about destiny? Is there such a thing called destiny? Do we totally have free will, or do we follow the commandments of our higher self? Well, we always have the free will to follow the commandments of our higher self. That is our free will. We choose whether to follow our excitement, our inspiration, our calling, or we choose whether to go against this. So we always have free will from that perspective. But perhaps if we can see things more from the perspective of our higher self, because the higher self is the truer us. You know what I mean? The lower self is just like the conditioning and the thought patterns and the beliefs that have been programmed into us. But the higher self is like the true us. So we can sort of see that these intense challenges that higher self loads upon us, if we can see them from the perspective of the higher self, like for example, I'm going through a financial challenge because I've taken this leap of faith into the unknown to trust my higher self and begin to follow my calling and my purpose. But I panic about money a little because this is scary, being in this new reality where I have to manifest my reality vibrationally, and I'm coming up against all these financial challenges. From the lower mind, you're like, oh, I don't want this. I just want life to be safe and easy. But if you can see it from the perspective of the higher self, like I'm an evolving consciousness, I'm becoming enlightened, I'm transitioning to a fourth density reality of love and light, a golden age, akin to the times of ancient Egypt and Atlantis, where we will live in spiritual union and ecstatic harmony with Gaia and with Earth and the cosmos, and we become infinite beings of consciousness. And I'm glad I'm giving myself these financial challenges because it is allowing me to transcend these limiting beliefs of living in a physical reality and see the perspective that I am an infinite, immortal creator of my own reality. You can like see from the perspective of your higher self, you're like, oh my God, that is my perspective. That is how I want to exist. I do want these challenges. I want to transcend. This is what I want. So you can begin to see that the higher self is actually you. We are actually our higher self. And this is truly what we want. And we are giving ourselves the guidance we need to accelerate our lives, to expand our consciousness into the bliss states, into the unity consciousness, into the oneness, and the service to creation that we truly desire. And this is what we are giving ourselves in the guidance of our higher mind. And so from this perspective, we always have the free will not to choose. But why would we choose otherwise? Because it's just like, why would I want some easy life of depression where I can have an extremely challenging life of bliss and unity conscious and expansion and oneness and uncovering the secrets of the universe? So we see how we do want what our higher self bestows upon us, and following the guidance of our higher self through our excitement and our calling is what we truly want. When we come out of these fear-based lack beliefs that just keeps us locked in this lower vibrational state that we know we don't desire. So, and also we have a certain destiny, I believe. Like, I believe I chose prior to this incarnation that I would have UFO sightings and telepathic communications with extraterrestrials, and I would experience an awakening and get a glimpse of a higher state of consciousness. And I would meet with certain people in my lives and have strong, intense relationships with certain people that I would garner very powerful lessons from members of my soul group and oversoul. And so, yeah, I believe we have a destiny, but within that, we have the free will to choose what route we go down this corridor in, how fast we go, whether we resist, whether we embrace the change and go with it. So is it possible to create or shift into a parallel reality where the laws of physics are not the same as here? Yes, but unlikely, because anything is possible, but we've got to ask whether it's probable and whether it's relevant for us. And because while we create our own reality, what is more to the point is we collectively create our reality. This earth is a co-creation, and every entity on Gaia, on this earth, adds to the collective creation. And prior to coming here, we all co-agreed on that we would all believe in a reality where gravity existed, where magnetism existed, where the laws of cause and effect, and the laws of physics, Newtonian physics. We all agreed that these Newtonian laws of physics would form the basis of our reality. And this is why it's real. So it's unlikely we could shift to a reality where gravity doesn't exist, or, you know, cause and effect are not real, because it's a collectively agreed on reality, and we collectively agreed to experience this. So for that to occur, it would occur, like, I presume, like, maybe not 50%, but a large proportion of the earth, a very large proportion of the earth, to believe that we could shift our gravity, that we could alter gravity, alter electromagnetic fields, alter cause and effect, because it's a co-creation. So it's possible, but unlikely, I would say. You got to ask, what would we learn from it? You know, if gravity disappeared and we all floated off into space, how would that serve the collective evolution of our planet? Because we're here to learn and grow spiritually and evolve. And see, planet Earth is like the place to be in the cosmos. Like, everyone wants to be on planet Earth, like, spiritually speaking, because planet Earth is the place where we accelerate, where we expand. Planet Earth is an opportunity for some of the fastest spiritual growth anywhere in this universe, because we've got this contrast of darkness and light, and we're going through this transition into a darkly oriented, a negatively oriented, fear-based reality. We've now shifted into a positive reality, and there is still the negative existing. This contrast creates an extremely potent, like, melting pot, like a furnace, where we can evolve spiritually extremely fast. And this is the reason we came to Earth, because we wanted to go through, like, this masterclass of spiritual evolution by going into this melting pot of so many different consciousnesses, and being told that, like, we're, you know, taught a Newtonian Darwinistic perspective of reality, where we're living in a physical universe and we're just random mutations, and when we die, that's it. And we can't affect our reality other than with our hands and with, like, physical force. And we're taught this, like, from a young age, and we're, like, putting ourselves in the most limiting situation possible to learn to find the light and transcend into the light and the love and extremely high states of consciousness from this place. And so we chose to create this reality for ourselves with co-agreed upon laws such as gravity and the laws of physics. And we got to ask ourselves, would it serve us to alter the laws of physics in our reality or not? And probably not, because we want to keep, from a higher perspective, we want to keep these illusions of limitation in our reality as much as possible, to act as a catalyst for us to break free from them and to give ourselves that opportunity to buy into that belief system and learn that our beliefs create our reality. To learn that your beliefs create your reality from a perspective where you are so heavily locked into negative oriented beliefs is an amazing thing for consciousness to experience. And this is what we came here to experience. So I feel it's unlikely we would shift to a parallel reality where the laws of physics are different, unless it is our destiny, unless it is something we have co-agreed upon prior to this life for some bizarre reason. Like maybe you get a glimpse of something completely bizarre, because we all do at some point on our journey. We co-agreed that we give ourselves these glimpses of a different reality outside the box, outside the illusion, so we wouldn't get completely sucked and trapped in this reality, so that we'd have an option. We haven't completely dumped ourselves in here from a higher self perspective. We're giving ourselves all these wake-up calls. So, questions? How do I break through my fear of following my passion? You've got to identify what the fear-based beliefs are, what specific fears it is that's holding you back, whether it's a fear of abundance, a fear of not being able to support yourself financially in your reality, or in which case you need to like look at those beliefs and redefine them and try and see that you create your own reality out of your consciousness. Or if it's a belief about lack of self-worth, like I believe I'm not good enough to do this, I don't believe I have a gift to offer, or I believe I'm a failure, I believe I'm not worthy in the eyes of creation. Some of these interesting beliefs us humans hold. Or beliefs that people will think I'm a failure, people won't like what I'm doing, people will reject me, I won't be loved by my parents, I won't be able to experience love because society will reject me. You've got to see what, you've got to identify what the fear-based beliefs are that's holding you back. And it's likely a mixture of all of those, because they're the general ones that are we collectively agree to take upon as humans to transcend. And none of those beliefs are true, I assure you, because they're all out of alignment with the perspective of creation. It's impossible in the eyes of creation to like be a failure or these human ideas, because everything's perfect in the eyes of creation. Creation is a symbiotic, evolving organism of pure consciousness reflecting back onto itself in any given moment. So even the most failed, worthless, nearly dead organism of a being is a perfect aspect of creation, because it's part of the evolution of consciousness, and it's consciousness growing and mirroring back on itself to see itself evolve. And it's like fascinated by being able to experience the idea of being worthless and being able to experience like not viewing yourself as not being unconditionally loved by the universe, because it's fascinated by these things because they're so far from the truth. But it's all a perfect growth of consciousness, a perfect expression of the infinite creator reflecting back and experiencing itself in form. So that's why these beliefs feel bad. That's what fear is. Fear is a sign that you have a belief that's out of alignment with your higher self, your true perspective of creation. So when you feel a fear come up, first of all, you've got to understand that that's what fear is. It's a sign that you have a belief that's out of alignment and a belief that needs redefining to your higher perspective. And you probably know what the true perspective is because if you spent time studying spiritual teachings, you know that the ultimate reality is that we create our own reality out of our consciousness, that life is a mirror, that we're infinite immortal beings, that we're unconditionally loved by creation, that we can experience love and light and bliss anytime we wish because we choose our own reality. But we're currently choosing to believe in beliefs that are out of alignment because they're so ingrained into our consciousness that we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we won't be supported, we're a failure, we're unlovable. This is why we feel bad, because we're trapped in these belief patterns that have been impregnated in our brain and wired into our neural pathways in our brain. So we keep thinking them and thinking and thinking because they're programmed into our hardware. They're like software written into our hardware, and we're operating on like DOS 3.1 when we should be like running on Windows 10 by now. And so we need to like delete all the code from DOS 3.1 that says we're a failure, we're not good enough, we're never going to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we're never going to be like Bruce Lee, and we're never going to be as good as Donald Rumsfeld or George Bush because they're great because they've got loads of money. I'm not sure anyone's still got that belief. But you get the point. So we just got to see that they're all old beliefs. They're old beliefs from an old society, beliefs that have been handed down from generation to generation to generation for the purpose of control and manipulation of the public to serve a small elite that benefits from this. And when we see this, we can just begin to let it go and realign our beliefs to the perspective of creation, the perspective of our higher minds. And from there, it's like easy to follow your excitement, or it comes easier and easier. So you've got to identify the specific beliefs that create that. Because fear points to a belief that is out of alignment, a belief that needs redefining. So if you go, I'm going to follow my highest excitement to go to Hawaii tomorrow on a surfing trip. And then you're like, oh, but I've only got £2,000 in my bank account. And if I go there, I might not even be able to afford the plane home. Fear, I'm not going. That fear is a sign that you have a belief that is out of alignment. And the belief that's out of alignment is I might not be able to afford the plane home, because the higher self knows that when you're aligned with your calling and your highest excitement, and you're in the perspective of the higher self, which is we create our own reality and we will always be supported in our own reality. That's why that belief feels bad. It instills fear in you because it's a sign that it's not of the perspective of the higher mind, the higher self. So when you have that fear-based belief, you need to redefine that belief to be, I'll be okay. Somehow the money will come to me to get my flight home because I'm following my highest excitement. I create my reality. My higher self is working with me. I trust all's going to be okay. And that feels good. That feels enlightening, exciting, vitalizing, because that is the perspective of the higher mind. And that's how you notice the difference. That's how you notice what beliefs are in alignment and what are out of alignment. Because the belief, I'm always supported in my passion, I'm always supported in my excitement, I trust that my reality will support me because I create my reality out of my consciousness, and my higher self works with me to give me everything I need to support me in my reality, and my beliefs create my reality, so I know this will manifest in my world. That feels good, that feels enlightening, that feels exciting. But oh my God, I'm not going to act upon, I'm not going to do what I want to do because I'm terrified that I won't have enough money, and then my parents and my friends will reject me because I'll be homeless and I'll be left in the curb starving to death. That feels bad because it's in a perspective that's out of alignment with the higher self. And that's what fear is. It's a sign you have a belief, a perspective, a definition that's out of alignment with the perspective of your higher self. So the belief, I'm not good enough to follow my highest excitement. I'm excited to be a life coach, but I don't feel worthy. I don't feel I'm quite good enough. I don't feel I can give enough worth to warrant charging people money for it. That's, again, brings up fear. It brings up negative sensations in us because it's another perspective that's out of alignment with our higher self. So we need to redefine that to, this is my excitement. So that's a sign, that's the reason I'm on this planet. This is my calling. My excitement is the guidance of my higher self as to how I can be of greatest service to humanity and greatest service to the world and greatest service to myself for my own expansion, my own bliss, my own joy, my own abundance, and the expansion, the bliss, joy, and abundance of the planet as a whole. So following through my excitement to be a coach, I know that it's exactly what I came here to do. So even if I don't do very well to start with, because I'm a novice and I'm a learner, I know it's the most I can be doing in this reality to serve myself and serve humanity. Therefore, it's exactly what I need to be doing. Therefore, I must act upon it now, because I know it's the most I can do this in this reality to serve people and serve myself. I know this by the very fact I'm excited to do so. This immediately negates the belief that I am not good enough and I shouldn't be doing this and I have nothing to offer, because it's out of alignment with the perspective of the higher mind. Because the higher mind that knows that what you're excited to do is exactly what you should be doing in that moment, and you have the ability and you are very worthy, because that is your self. That is your true core signature vibration. You couldn't be more worthy. That is perfection in creation. Or if you have the belief, I can't channel extraterrestrials because my friends will laugh at me and reject me. And when they reject me, it will trigger my trauma from childhood, where my father rejected me and left me by the side of the road that day and forgot about me. And the police had to bring me home. And that was the worst day of my life. So I don't want to be rejected by my friends, because it'll make me feel like that. So I'm no way becoming an extraterrestrial channel, because I never want to feel like that again. So that belief is clearly another belief that's out of perspective with your higher mind, because it brings up fear in you, fear of experiencing that rejection energy. But the perspective of the higher mind is, I am unity consciousness. I am oneness. I am transcendent higher consciousness, expressing my calling and my purpose in reality. And this will create a sense of unity consciousness and bliss and alignment with my higher chakras, which is the ultimate feeling of fulfillment and love and bliss and everything I desire. So therefore, that belief about not being able to experience a good feeling because I fear feeling rejected is complete nonsense. I can see rejection as a good sign, because it's showing me that the people that aren't resonating with me at this time are allowing me to align with the people that are resonating with me, my true soul family. So this will make me feel even more ecstatic and blissful. So it's about redefining all these beliefs, identifying the fears that are stopping you from acting upon your highest excitement, your joy and your calling, and redefining them, seeing them from the higher perspective. I have no passions or real fun in this life. I feel like it makes no sense for me to be on Earth. Could you give me an advice? Yeah, if you can't find your excitement, so you can't find any excitement at all, you don't know what the next step is, you need to begin to follow the cookie crumb trail or the breadcrumb trail, which means like literally beginning to act on your excitement moment to moment every day. Like you need to wake up like after this call, if you've got nothing you absolutely have to do, and preferably just drop everything. But obviously you've got to have the belief that you'll be supported in your reality. So that's something you need to work upon. But the idea is of following the cookie crumb trail, the breadcrumb trail, is that like we wake up in the morning and we say to ourselves, what is the most exciting thing I can act upon now in this moment? And we look at all the options that are available to us in that moment that we feel we can act upon, and we choose the one that feels most exciting to us and we act upon it, and we carry that out to the fullest we can until we can carry it out no more. And then we say to ourselves again, what is the most exciting thing I can act upon now? And we look at all the options available to us, and we act upon the most exciting thing in that moment, no matter what it is, and we carry that out to the fullest we can until we can act upon it no more. And then we say to ourselves again, what is the most exciting thing I can act upon now? And we act upon that to the fullest we can until we can carry that out no more. And and we keep following this breadcrumb trail of one excitement to the next excitement, to the next excitement, to the next excitement. And that is the guidance of the higher self. And that is how we should live our life all the time, apparently, from my understanding, because it is the guidance of our higher self, and it's always the shortest path to achieving our calling, to doing what we came here to do. It's always the shortest path to everything we desire, truly desire, from our heart's higher perspective. It's always of greatest service to humanity. And And this can like get us back into the flow of excitement, get us back into the flow of starting to discover what makes us feel passionate, discover what makes us feel alive. Then we get a greater sense of those things that bring us passion. And so that's my advice. Just take it as a moment to moment thing. You know, it can be as small as waking up in the morning and say, what's the most exciting thing I can do now? I can listen to the radio, I can make a cup of coffee, I can take a shower, I can go for a run, I can go to the swimming pool, I can go to the gym, I can read a book, I can go into town, go shopping, I can watch a movie, I can go and meditate in the woods, I can book a vacation. You know, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's about following the guidance moment to moment, where our higher self is guiding us in each and every moment. And we don't, and it all links up. It's like we don't need to know where it's going. We might be excited to go and have a coffee at the coffee shop, and when we get there, there's like some massively inspiring guy there that we were supposed to meet, and that's why our higher self guided us to the coffee shop. So this is why we follow the guidance of our higher self, and this is how we begin to get back in touch with our passion, back in touch with our excitement. Follow this breadcrumb trail, get back doing things we love to do. So that's my trip, moment to moment. It doesn't have to be a huge overarching passion or excitement like I'm going to be an ambassador for the Andromeda civilization in first contact. It's as simple, and this is perhaps the most important thing, because when we do get those overall callings and overall massive excitement to be a ambassador for the Andromeda civilization to Earth, it's very easy to mind orient it and think, well, I need to do this, I need to start a website, I need to make an agenda for meeting with the Andromedans on the 25th of December 2048. And then we're just going back to our mind, and we're losing the true inspiration and guidance of our higher self. So it's very important also for people that are very much aligned with the highest excitement and their calling to not forget to go back to this idea of the cookie crumb trail, of the actual guidance of our higher mind, because then our higher mind is guiding us on the shortest path to everything we achieve. And to have this meeting with Andromeda in 2048, we may find, if we actually followed the cookie crumb trail of going swimming, then meeting this guy at the park, and then having a coffee with someone else here, and then meeting an interdimensional channel by the sea who puts us in contact with the Pleiadian civilization who interact with the Yael and the Andromedans. We end up actually meeting Andromedan 10 years early in 2038, because we actually followed the shortest path to our higher own expansion of our higher consciousness. And through our own acceleration and expansion of our excitement and our higher consciousness, we shifted to a parallel reality where more people are on that same consciousness, and things accelerated at a much more accelerative rate. I was just trying to rearrange the windows, because I've got two different windows open, one with my image and one with the chat, but I may have to do that another time. So you don't believe in downward spirals because sometimes the tests lower my vibration to demonic being. No, I don't, because while I very much agree with what you said, what happens is, as our frequency rises, we bring to the surface those beliefs that were previously in our subconsciousness about lack of self-worth, fear of not being supported, fear of abundance. All these beliefs come to the surface and very often will create reflection in our outer reality as they come to the surface. But it's actually due to our frequency going up. Our frequency is getting higher And this is getting us to a place where we're able to deal with this stuff that has been suppressed in our subconscious, because our consciousness is higher and we now have the ability to deal with it. And our higher frequency is naturally drawing it out of our subconscious, because our frequency is raising, and all this higher consciousness energy is continually going through our chakra systems, through our energy centers, and we're going the higher frequencies in our energy centers all the time. But every time our energy passes through, every experience we go through, all our it is processed through all our chakra centers, and it's going up into the higher centers, but triggering and stirring up anything in the lower centers that is out of alignment. So it's actually a process of so it's not a downward spiral, it's an upward spiral of consciousness, because the reason we're feeling bad is because our consciousness is rising, and it's bringing to the surface out of alignment beliefs, perspectives, lack of self-worth beliefs, fears about how others perceive us, fear of abundance not being manifest in our reality. These stuff is getting forced to the surface from our subconscious that was previously lodged in our subconscious. So it's an upward spiral. Why are other family members going literally crazy? Well, the thing is, like, everyone's like this consciousness, we've reached like this point, like in the collective consciousness, where we sort of reached the 100th monkey effect, where enough of people, us, have chosen to follow this path of our highest excitement, our calling, our expansion of consciousness, self-realization. And we've collectively raised the consciousness of the planet to the point where what I just described, how our consciousness rises, it forces our subconscious beliefs, our lack of self-worth beliefs, our childhood trauma, out of our subconscious into our conscious mind for processing and healing, much the same as therapy does. This is the idea of speaking to a traditional therapist and going into your childhood. It's very much a similar thing. It's happening on a collective level. We're raising the consciousness of the planet. These misaligned beliefs that all of humanity contains within itself about I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm failure, I don't deserve to be loved, I need to prove myself to the world, I need to be rich, money's the root of all evil, all this crazy stuff that's every human, unless you've processed it and let it go. I presume every human, perhaps there's some people who have lived in the rainforest, segregated from humanity in some spiritual culture all their lives, don't have these beliefs, but for 99.999% of humanity, these beliefs are wedged in our subconscious, and they're so traumatic to our being, to our consciousness, that as a child we're unable to process all this negative influx of energy and trauma and beliefs and perspectives on reality, so we just suppress it all in our subconscious. And as our consciousness rises and we get to the point where we're able to process it and capable of processing it, it rises to the surface. And this is what's happening. We're on a collective level now. Enough of us have done the work that we are now rapidly upgrading the civilization. The collective consciousness of Earth is upgrading, and you can sense it everywhere. You can go out into the cities and you can feel like the energy of the place. It feels very dense, but there's also like a spiritual moving and bringing all this denseness out into the consciousness. So yeah, so everyone's dealing with their stuff. Everyone's trauma is coming to the surface for healing. Everyone's out of alignment beliefs are coming to the surface because everyone's consciousness is rising due to the collective consciousness of Earth rising. So everyone is going through a spiritual evolution, whether they like it or not. And this is why our regular people can appear to be going quite crazy. How do souls evolve in higher dimensions without duality? Well, I can't answer this very well because I'm not a soul in a higher dimension. However, the idea is that they don't evolve as rapidly as us, and this is why I was saying why Light Earth is so valued as a place to reside at present. Like, as a soul, so many souls want incarnations on Earth, or however it works. So many entities want to incarnate here because this is where the duality, we can really experience the illusion of duality and polarity, and this is what causes the acceleration of consciousness we're going through. So from what I understand is in higher dimensions where they don't, you know, duality isn't even a understanding, you know, they just know themselves as unity. They evolve at a slower rate, and through service. I know in fourth density and sixth density, it's very service oriented. They evolve through just surrendering their vehicle to service, and somehow they evolve. I don't know for sure, is the honest answer, but I know they evolve slower because they don't have the catalyst that duality gives. But it's just all an exploration of consciousness. I get it. I guess it's all consciousness mirroring back on itself for the purpose of its own evolution. And I guess the idea of service is becoming the pure mirror. So the idea of consciousness evolving through the law of attraction is that beings of like frequency come together and reflect back to each other what they need to do to evolve. And in my own path as a channel, it's my job to act as a pure mirror as I can. So when someone comes to me asking a question, it's my job to be empty of ego, empty of everything I can, and just stay in an empty state where I can mirror back to them exactly what they need to hear. And from that space of emptiness, I just let consciousness, I just let source consciousness flow through me into the being. So I'm acting as a pure vessel, a pure mirror, so I can mirror back to this entity asking me the question what they need to hear for their own evolution. So this is how consciousness evolves. This is how all beings or life evolves. Beings of like frequency come together to mirror back and to reflect to each other for their own evolution. And this is the idea of the law of attraction. You're attracting a being of a like frequency to mirror back to each other what you need to hear. So as we evolve as a consciousness, we see that the fastest way that the consciousness can evolve, the one consciousness, the one can evolve, is through mirroring back to each other exactly what either sides of the mirror need to hear for that aspect of itself to evolve at the most accelerated rate. And the way we do this most effectively is by being a pure mirror for that being, mirroring back to that entity exactly what they need to hear for their own evolution, for their own expansion at the most accelerated rate. And so the idea is the more we can be of service through being as empty and pure a mirror as possible, the more we can assist that being with its own evolution, and the more we can assist the evolution of the one consciousness. And so we are always evolving ourselves because we are all connected and we are all one being. So I guess it's the understanding that when we're in the higher dimensions, the more we can act as a pure mirror for all entities that come into our reality, the more we can assist them with their own evolution, so they will evolve at the most accelerative rate, and we in turn learn from them. In every given moment, they mirror back to us what we need to see, and if they're learning at the most accelerative rate, they're going to reflect back the most accelerative high frequency consciousness to us, so we naturally accelerate at the optimal rate. So I sense this is somehow how beings evolve through service in higher dimensions. They're interacting with the natural acceleration of the, like when consciousness is mirroring back to itself at the optimal rate, at the most accelerated rate, they understand that being a pure mirror and being a pure service to every entity they come across They are assisting that aspect of their own selves, their own consciousness, which of course we are all one being, to accelerate at the highest rate possible. So I guess through the laws of physics, the nature of reality, if we're assisting entities to accelerate at the highest rate possible, we're in the vibration of an acceleration at the highest rate possible. So we will also accelerate at the highest rate possible. Something like this, I guess. Why did AI trigger the missile alert in Honolulu, causing mass fear? I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds very interesting. I might have to look into that. But I mean, I don't think we even have true AI yet, do we? We have lots of very intelligent algorithms that can sift through high volumes of data and come to intelligent decisions, but I don't think that is true AI. What I would call true AI is a self-aware being, a sentient consciousness that is aware of its own self and is able to make choices, its own choices, not just based on external data, just calculations. So I presume if this did happen, AI was based on algorithms that from monitoring, I don't know. I can't really speak to this because I don't know what occurred. But whatever it is, it's a mirror of our collective consciousness. Everything that happens in our outer reality is a mirror of our individual consciousness and our collective consciousness. And I am very sure there is a subconscious fear in a very large amount of humanity about a missile crisis, because our entire reality could be wiped out in an instant in nuclear holocaust. So I'm sure a very large percentage of the population has subconscious fears about a nuclear missile crisis. So it's probably a reflection of that. Anyway, I don't think we'll focus on that anymore, because what we focus on is what we create. Okay, so we seem to have come to the end of the questions, I think. Okay, so that was a pretty cool transmission. So I think we'll call it a day there. So thank you for everyone for getting involved, and I'll see you same time next week. Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you for your questions, because I can't do this without you guys. So I really appreciate your questions, because it's your questions that allows me to act as a mirror and allows me to speak from, allow my higher consciousness flow through this vessel into your reality. So I really appreciate your questions so much. So any questions, write them down, and be back here same time next week for another Tuesday night live stream with Jonathan C. Martin. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Shibai, good day. and I'll see you next week, perhaps.